What time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah?
Yeah, fun Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, move on to treat, yeah. Keep listening.
Hello and welcome in to the Tuesday edition of your show. I am still your very busty host, Gary, as the scale has not been kind to me lately, and it's probably has something to do with all of the pizza and burgers I've been eating, but that's okay. That's a problem for another day. This right here is what it's all about. Your show. Still the only show that chooses to go live Monday to Friday, 4 to 5 p.m., just like the old network TV we grew up and loving as well. Maybe even the whole province. We're not really sure, but we love to say it. We also love to make up all sorts of categories and say we're number one in them, including today, as we are the number one show on YouTube being fully produced by a fire-breathing dragon. Fire-breathing dragon. We're number one. We're number one. Dragon's on the 1 and 2s today. Blow some fire out there, buddy. Can I get a fire? He's working on it. You'll get there, I promise you. We also have a cam that everybody comes around for and cheers for as well. That's the Maggie cam. Look at this beautiful puppy. She literally came up here about 2 minutes before, and she was ready because yesterday she didn't hit her spot, and I don't want to say she paid the price, but she may have had a couple less kibbles in the bowl, and she realized that. So now she's back earning that Employee of the Month award she's won for 9 straight months now. The Maggie Cam for our best buddies over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. When you walk in those beautiful doors, you'll be greeted by Maggie's boyfriend, Leroy. And Leroy will take you to the till, where you'll meet Rochelle or Mike, and then your experience truly begins. Everything you need for your pet is there, including the cleaning station that is second to none. We've had numerous people go to that cleaning station because of the Maggie Cam, and they all have reported back saying, you can't beat it. They got the harness for the dog, so if you have a jumpy dog, they lock you in. They got the soap, they got the water, they got the dryer, everything you need. And not only that, they are open after hours. Kirsten, Char, or Chris will be there after business hours during the week and on Saturdays and Sundays. They are always there for you. Those are our good friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. As we move in to the Tuesday tradition around here, the first gathering of the new year, from the All Outta Angst podcast, we have Uncle Mike and Matt from the band. Hey. Oh. God, you guys are getting good at that.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Like, what's the first rule? Never show up the host, bro.
Sorry.
Dude, I guess
couldn't
you're in charge.
resist.
Okay, you're in charge.
Yeah.
Take
I couldn't resist.
Take it
Spin.
away.
I just thought
beautiful. His range. Look at the range, and it's even.
with Maggie's
Awesome.
little misstep the other day, it's opening up a possibility for one of us to get that Employee of the Month.
Yeah,
so,
there you
it's
go.
like, it's just trying to,
The biggest
Gotta have
reason,
it.
and I tell everybody here, everyone that's a part of this family, the biggest reason she wins is because she brings in the most advertising buys.
this is true.
Thanks to our friends at Pet Planet on 8th Street. Love them so, so much. Happy New Year, you two guys.
Yeah,
the
Happy
first
New
meeting.
Year.
Oh, man.
That's right.
Woo! How's the year been so far?
It's been great. Yeah.
Spectacular.
Honestly, like,
I almost believed you for a second. That was great.
January 2nd is when I went back for my first day after those glorious 2 weeks off.
2
And like
weeks off.
that kind of last half a day and then like driving to the landfill at first, I was like, I don't really ever suffer with, like, thank goodness, with like mental health and depression, but that was like the closest where I was just like freaking so low, and I was just like, ugh.
Seasonal depression.
And once I like did the first, like drop the first bin up at the top of the trash pile, I was like, okay, I can do this, I'm fine. But yeah, it's just like initially getting back into that groove was a little tough for me because I like I said to you, I probably had the best holidays I've ever had in my life. Just like great family time, and just like didn't have tons of stuff that we were like, it was like focused on kind of recharging.
Yep.
So yeah,
which is super important. I mean, I actually had, and even though I was at work like over the holidays, I had a very similar reaction I guess yesterday morning, Monday morning. I don't know. I mean, the kids were back at school, you know, obviously, so we're kind of back to our normal routine. And yeah, I had this like, oh my God, devastating, like, even though nothing had really changed, like, I mean, I definitely got some time off, but it's not like I was totally cut off from work. I went in over the holidays and we were open a few days last week, so I was in obviously then anyway, but it was like, yeah, and I hadn't felt that in a while, so it was like, oh, and
Well,
then
it's cold.
Exactly, it was
And,
dark,
you're
you
like,
know.
we're starting this again.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep. Yeah.
People are allowed to have pity parties. That's what I
Yeah.
think you need to remember. It's okay for you to be not okay if you want to be cliche with all
Yep.
the stuff that people feed you, as long as you bounce back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all I'm hearing is guys bouncing back from that seasonal depression battle that we all face, which I really enjoy.
My number one go-to is frickin' just, again, I've got the CRV stocked up with all my old punk CDs, so just like turning up one of the classics and just like, I'm driving to work, having my coffee, and just singing along to either like Offspring Smash or any one of the Lagwagons. And I find once I'm like 3 songs deep, and I'm like, I'm fine now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, and I find, you know, the older I get, the more round I get, so it becomes
bounce.
easier to bounce back.
Hey, I
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Give me
Well, that
some.
was the thing,
Give me
yeah.
some. That's good.
the
Very good.
first day back, there was like a pizza party thing that was happening at the and I obviously had to buy into it or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, initially I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And then I'm like, I've had so much chocolate, like sleeves of cookies and Ferrero Rochers and all the candies. And I was like, I looked a little different in the mirror for myself. So I was like, you know what? I can't do the pizza. I've been eating like nonstop for the last 2 weeks.
No.
If we're not allowed to bulk up for winter, what are we
Exactly.
even doing?
I'm cultivating mass, and then eventually I'll turn it into something.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We have no idea what it's going to be, but we're going to do it.
It's
This is it. Just so you're aware of what goes on Tuesdays now, we used to do a pre-tape before the show, and then we would use that as the All Out of Angst podcast. But as we move forward, we realized the conversations were always way better because we had talked about them before, and then we do it again, but on camera. So we decided to just skip the middleman and turn this into the episode of the All Out of Angst podcast. So if you're listening at home, thank you for listening to the All Out of Angst podcast. It's a lot of fun as we talk about all sorts of cool stuff. Being kids of the 80s and 90s back when everything was perfect. The last time everything was perfect in this world. And we slowly try to bring some of that back with each and every episode. So to curtain jerk, if you will, a term we like to use around here very
I like
often,
that.
as we like to be as real as possible because no one else ever wants to be real. That's why we go live. That's what we bring you as a network. And with this show, we were talking about the idea, and I've thrown this out there before, but the idea of creating our very own Fat Records, our very own Epitaph Records, our very own Give 'Em the Boot, like these old school record labels. And in that conversation, we talked about a lot of really, really, really cool ideas that we're looking to bring into this. And one of them is figuring out how to release our first AOA song. Now, we have the 3 of us. The idea of this podcast to begin with was to not only talk about all this music that we love and appreciate so much, but to create a song of our own during the show. And if you go back to previous episodes of the AOA, you'll hear us. Now, be it not with the most majestic voices in the world, but you'll hear us, Uncle Mike and myself, singing along, and Matt not only playing along, but singing along as well in an episode. And we finally reached the point where that song has become ready to put out to the world. And one of the conversations we wanted to have on our list and didn't get to was, how the hell do you release a song nowadays? What goes into that? What's the idea behind it? Who do you talk to? All these questions that I'm assuming most bands right now are asking themselves and each other. And this show, being the beautiful, majestic pot of gold that it is, it's always giving, and it's always helping us solve these little issues that we all ponder time and time again. And so today, for a little bit anyway, we're going to talk about what needs to be done. If you as a band have a song ready to put out there for the world, where do you go? What do you do? Who do you talk to? Luckily, we have a guy who's released a bunch of songs, and that guy is Matt from All the Band.
hello.
There he is. Yeah. That was like a soliloquy. I was putting myself to sleep, dude. Jeez. Can't be doing that. So with all of that in mind and with all that set up, before we get there, I've been starting to do these random reminders of the day. What's that say?
Glute contusion, Fox?
That's what it says.
Okay.
Before we get into everything I just set up,
I have no idea. I'm still getting my head wrapped around the curtain jerk because that meant a whole different thing back in the in the
think
80s
of Wizard
or
of Oz.
90s.
Just pulling the curtain back. And
Oh,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
You're thinking more like Merkin stuff. Or...
The Merkin curtain jerk. That's
Real quick, and this is something really funny. I have another one scheduled at some point. Like I do this at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I just put them in and just wait for them to pop up. Like, oh, that's right. Aaron Fox is a point guard for the Sacramento Kings, and he was out last night for the second game in a row with a glute contusion. Does anyone know what a glute contusion is?
a bruise on your ass, I guess.
So I wasn't crazy. I was like, there's no way it could be. Like, why wouldn't you just call it a? I guess you can't say a bruised ass.
Right.
But that's
They,
gonna be
they
one
gotta
of
be
those.
all fancy.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a protuberant
glute
son on his
contusion.
gluteus maximus.
You know, it's like when a guy gets hit in the balls real bad, they're like, oh, a testicle contusion. You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
they have to be so serious with it. Why can't you say like glute contusion? It sounds so funny to me. And for a guy to miss 2 games, and this guy's like he's averaging almost 27 points per game, and he's out for the second game in a row with a glute contusion.
Jeez.
It just had me going for a loop there.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the question at hand. Where do people start when
Yeah.
you have a song ready to go?
Yeah, because again, for the last little bit, we've just been releasing singles, like with Raven Witch at least. Untimely, we're recording the EP that actually Brian's tracking on the 18th of January, so that's coming into play soon. But yeah, with an album or an EP, it's kind of, you do a little bit of like more pre-work, you know, like it's nice to have it ready and send it out to like either a publicist or someone that can, you know, like get some reviews
Right.
on it. But if you're just doing the kind of DIY soft release of a
Which
you
is
know,
what I
a
think
single,
most people would be
and
doing.
that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
What we like to do, so you get the song, you've got your master wave or whatever, and then we use DistroKid. I think there's a bunch of, and basically what they do is you give them the song, you sign up, and you pay, I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's like $100 or something like that. And then they get that on every Apple Music, you know, Amazon Music.
So all the
they'll
same
have it-
places you can find this very podcast.
Yeah, YouTube, all that stuff. So they kind of just do it all for you, which is sweet. And then usually what we'll do too is either make a lyric video or something for YouTube and then also put our own. So there'll usually be 2 on YouTube, just the one that's put up by DistroKid and then the one that we do ourselves or whatever. But that's kind of, and then from there, you just promote it. So
So I guess question, when putting it onto YouTube, like initially through DistroKid, is there any, like they just put a still image, or is it like you
whatever,
submit something?
whatever. Like if it's an album, they'll put the album art.
Right.
If it's just like a single, we'll send like, you know, just
Picture of
some
the
sort
band
of
or something.
image
Yeah.
or something, whatever image you wanted to associate it with
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
We've never just given them a song without any art, but
Right.
I don't know what they would do in that case. But yeah, like you just go on YouTube and then it kind of just has the artwork, but it's not like a full thing or whatever. It usually just, it's like part of it, and then you know, I don't know. They've got their thing.
Yeah,
Basically,
they
you
figure
pay
it out. It's
them,
not for you to
yeah.
figure out. That's why you pay them.
So
And then, yeah,
figure
we'll
it out.
also, we go to SOCAN and you register it. So for ours, we would be like, you know, Phantom Vibrations or whatever we're going to call the song, by whatever we're going to call
call
it,
it
if it's
band, yeah.
AOA or,
Yeah.
or DAM, whatever we're going to
Whatever
call
it
it.
is, yeah.
And then, yeah, you just put, you know, I guess composed by Matt Cuthbertson, like the music of it or whatever. And then for the lyrics, it would be
Maze.
Garrett.
That was all Maze. He was the only one.
Well, and you guys came up with some.
No, that was all him. All that stuff in my phone
I would,
was
I
just
would be,
me.
I would be putting you 3 on there. So, and then,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
and then I think the breakdown, say this song becomes a cajillion, you know, it's like, or whatever. I would be getting 50% of the royalties as the composer,
Royalties.
and then the 50% would go to the person that wrote the lyrics, but that would be split
Right.
33.3%,
Right.
or of that
Interesting,
50%.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the general breakdown it is.
And so once your song is registered with SOCAN,
Yeah.
then is it just on the station to decide, hey, we want to play this?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's more too, like, we'll get, back in the day, we would get, like, $130 checks or whatever from SoCan. And now I often get like a $5 check.
Hold on, are
know.
you saying back in the day, as in back when I used to force you guys onto the radio?
You probably some of that would have been you.
I
And-
bet you. I'm
Kickbacks.
not joking. I
But,
bet you.
yeah,
I don't want anything, of
yeah.
course. I'm saying the idea that somebody thought of you enough to say, hey, we have an open space here. We're not allowed to play local bands, but this is my buddy's band. It's a really good song, so I'm going to put this on the radio.
Yeah.
And every time you get that spin, you get that whatever little.
And I know, like, I think it was City of Steel, that album, we were, like, #1 on a few of the college radio charts or whatever, like, even, like of all of for heavy music. So, like, that period, we would have been getting a lot of plays, and
Yeah.
that was the time we were getting
So it wasn't
we were
me, it's
getting
what
the
you're saying. Okay.
three-figure checks at
Yeah,
that point.
that's fair. No, that's
Yeah,
very,
maybe.
very cool. I've always tried to figure out how and why is it so hard for these bands to get on the radio? And it always just comes back to because your boss says you can't play them. So if you have a guy who's like, I know these guys are good, I know the world's going to love them just as much as I do, and you just start feeding it through, sure, you might get fired.
Yeah.
Probably you will.
Probably you will.
But at the same time, you're helping to facilitate a dream for people you know and love. And it's like, it was such an easy decision for me to make once I realized I was on my way out. But for most people, you don't have that mindset because your job is your job. And when your boss says you can't do that, you know, it's like, how do we get a song like this onto radio stations? And from a guy being on radio stations, I know that there's a lot of greasy stuff going on in between.
That's why, like, going the college radio route is a lot better.
Shout out CFCR, by the way.
The CFCR is great. and
CFCR.
They don't tend to track as well as some of the other stations, which is kind of annoying. Because I remember there was a time where it was like we were in, like, #1 in, like, Thunder Bay and, like, Prince Edward Island and a bunch of these places, and then just nothing in Saskatoon. And we're like, come on, we know it's getting played.
As a guy who knows, and this is the difference between commercial radio and the college radio, is when we are playing those songs. Hold on, this is where we like to wait for Dragon to catch up here. There he is. Nice work, Dragon. Sometimes he gets a little busy. He's doing like 100 things at once.
Well, of course he is.
We frickin' love you, buddy.
He's Lord Raiden.
He literally, he turned off a camera with the electroshocks that he somehow discovered in his body. When you are on commercial radio, mainstream radio, you are told these are your songs. You are going to people that you're paying a lot of money for and saying, let us know what people want to hear. So you go and you spend a bunch of money on these specialists that say, this is what's hot right now. This is what you need to play. Don't play any of this stuff. You have to play this. Whereas you go into CFCR, you have your playlist. You already know exactly who you're going to play. And here's the difference. And here's where I think the disconnect was made for you specifically. You handwrite down every single song onto a piece of paper. And when your show is done, you take that piece of paper and you put it into the giant folder. There's no computers. This is handwriting. Lots of times, like mine were the worst because I write like a 2-year-old. Look at this.
Like a
You see that?
doctor.
That's how I write. That's it. I cannot, like, my writing's horrible.
That's
you
not
can't
bad.
you can't make it out. And so when there's a guy like my sweet, beautiful Jay, I love Jay so much, program director over there. When he's going through that at the end of every month or whenever you have to calculate everything, I imagine there's a lot of times where he's like, what the heck is this? You know, if someone's not taking the time to write it down.
Exactly.
'Cause it's not in a computer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times that those spins and those plays could be getting missed because it's just in handwriting.
Yeah,
You know?
no, that's solid point.
Yeah, it's just it's looked at so much more when it's in a computer program and you have all these consultants you're bringing in and you have all this stuff where you have to show it. Where with the college, everything's, and that's why I loved it so much.
Oh, it's so
Everything was so like laid back.
And it's just fun because it's like the DJ actually does get to show their personality a bit.
Right,
It's
that's
not just like, God bless Nickelback and everyone. I've got nothing wrong to say, but it's nice to be able to, like, if you want to play some Lagwagon or like
Which we did.
showcase, something
what?
that
I'm
you
gonna do right
actually
now?
actually like.
I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples because I still have on my phone my playlists from these shows that we did. And the other cool thing, CanCon on college radio, you're looking.
You have to play a certain. What is the percentage?
I think it was 50.
Which
I
that's
think from
great.
4 to 5
Huge.
p.m. it was,
Yep.
or from a certain amount of time, 50% CanCon. So for instance, if I take us back to December 11th, listen to this.
My brother's birthday.
Oh, which one?
Chris.
Happy Birthday to Chris on December 11th. Mastodon, Toes to Does, Valhalla Waits Me, Amon Amarth, Messengers, Lagwagon,
Nice.
A Juxtaplication of Action, and Belvedere. Any Number Can Play, No Use for a Name, and Lessons by Rush. You want to talk about a
Damn.
gambit?
That's a
one
solid
show.
list.
That's one show. How about this one? December 18th, we came in with Evil Ways, a new Drake song, because you have to like try to promote some new music. There's a Drizzy in there. And then right to My Right by Screeching Weasel.
Oh,
Nice.
and this was on the old radio station?
No, this is CFC.
No,
this
this
is the difference. This is what I'm saying. Surfing into Fino, Planet Smashers. You know, it's like all of these incredible bands, punk rock cliche, new NoFX. I was playing new NoFX and new Rancid in the same show for a month straight.
That's huge.
It was unbelievable. Back to back, punk rock cliche, NoFX into Devil in Disguise by Rancid, both brand new songs from two of my favorite bands.
But that, to me, that's fun and that's interesting because then you find a DJ that, you know, you trust and then they can start shaping, you know, the music that you listen to.
Well, and like that's how listeners discover new music
Yes.
too, right? Like I mean, like yeah, sure you can find stuff on streaming and YouTube and whatever, but if you don't know what to look for, you know, I mean, maybe you'll get some suggestions or whatever. But I know countless times and specifically CFCR, where you hear something, it's like, what was that? And then they
My buddy
they
Gord-
name it, and it's like, damn, I'm gonna check that out.
Buddy Gord's show, he does, what is it, Denim and Leather?
Hell yeah.
And he's just always playing great stuff.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing. You have the freedom. In this, so we go NoFX to Rancid to new Blink 182.
Which one?
Other Side.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's a good one?
Yeah,
that
I
the
would
best
say
one? I know you're on it.
Anthem 3 is my favorite off the new one, and it's the ballady one. I forget what it is, but
Are you ready for the big finish? And this is what I'm so proud of. This is a perfect microcosm for all of this. So we go from that little punk run to Swimming in Your Ocean, Crash Test Dummies.
oh yes,
Bye for Now, Lagwagon. Stiff Upper Lip by AC/DC for my dad. Shout out to my dad. He's like, I'm like, Dad, I can't play AC/DC on college radio. They're going to throw me out of the door. He goes, son, done a lot for you. You can do this for me.
yeah.
You
Good
got
point.
that.
Good point.
He wins again. He always does.
You old dog.
And then we finished with Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes.
Oh
Propaganda.
yes.
Into the Seasons Upon Us, Dropkick Murphys, as it was getting close to Christmas time. So that's just a couple of examples. And then I've talked about the big one where our good friend Jonathan Sherman and I did a co-host. It was our the punk rock show for the night. So it was December 30th, and it was TV Party Tonight,
Sweet.
the punk
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
show on CFCR. This is unbelievable. So we started out with TV Party by Black Flag.
Of course.
That's what you got to do is Black Flag. And then we went all over the place. And out of every single thing I've done in my life in radio, nothing has even come close
Yeah,
to
I'm
this.
excited for this.
To get my
list.
buddy John Sherman on the radio with me talking about these songs that we have been playing since we were, like, he grew up on Dufferin Avenue. He's the other half of the Dufferin Ave. This is my guy. Drunk on a Bike, SNFU.
Oh,
Drugged and Driving, Dayglow Abortions.
okay.
Right after Drugged and Driving, he said, by the way, guys, Drunk on a Bike, Drugged and Driving, do not recommend. We're not saying do this. They're just the songs that we chose for this moment.
They're words of caution, not.
We just
it.
find them to be quite humorous.
There it is. Blind, Face to Face. 9mm in a three-piece suit. Catch 22. I've won 88 Fingers Louie on the radio.
Great.
Last Believer from my buddy Matt Berg. Good riddance. Say Anything, Bouncing Souls. Dandeliana, The Smalls, bro. Weird Beard, Mad Caddies. I Want to Conquer the World, Bad Religion.
Nice.
Punk
That was the
Rock
fir-
101, Diesel Boy.
That was the second Bad Religion song that Untimely Demise covered.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Just
first one was
saying.
American Jesus.
If I Lived in a Perfect World, we played Guttermouth on the radio. Guttermouth, man. Guttermouth on the radio. Life of the Party, Planet Smashers, Back to the Motor League, Propaganda, Answers, Goldfinger, Journey to the End of the
Great.
Earth, Rancid, F Authority, Pennywise, on the radio. I say Authority. Like, yeah.
Man.
Spicy McHaggis jig from Dropkick Murphys that we actually really used to enjoy. What the F did you expect? Against All Authority, the greatest ska band of all time. It's hard to look cool. Belvedere, You're Too Cool, Gob, Smash by The Offspring.
Nice.
Liza and Louise, No Effects. Liza and Louise on the radio.
So is there like an unwritten rule like that you shouldn't have like so much swearing on your song choices?
After
or-
6 p.m.
It doesn't matter at all.
You always should be aware.
So this was my question, not necessarily speaking of our song that we're going to put out there,
Oh, yes,
but
yeah.
for other songs that have profanities within them.
Yes.
do they like? Will they go through the song and censor it? Do you have to submit a censored copy
That's
of
a
it?
great question.
Do you? How does that?
That is a great question because
Radio
that it
friendly.
really picks up the
I'm sorry, for our song, but,
F-bomb momentum at the end there.
Well, and this is something I've been meaning to talk to you about is because Mays wrote it all, and he wanted to use instead of the F-bomb. Oh, sorry, all of us. His biggest complaint as a parent was the swearing in it. And I said, well, this wasn't made for kids, Coach. And he's like, I understand that, but it would be nice to have like a censored version.
Yeah.
And the original plan for that part was to use forget instead of F
Yeah.
bomb. So forget, pods and pads, forget.
Yeah.
So how hard is it to go and record just those two, I guess, verses?
We could, but at
But
this
it can't
point,
get remastered because we don't want
and then I have to like get it to Justin, and it could be like sit in a waiting pattern for a long time. Like
And that was
it's
the
doable.
question.
It's 100% doable.
Is it more of a way where we just censor it, like a radio censor, and just leave it
Yeah, I think
open?
that would be better. And in all honesty, I moved all those files to another thing.
Well, of course,
so like
yeah,
to
that-
get them back would be
And I knew
annoying.
that, and
yeah.
this is what I'm saying because I didn't, and that's why I said to May, is like, dude, he already did everything, like it's done.
Yeah.
But how hard is it to go back and make a radio version?
I don't imagine like literally we would just have to
You got to take out about 14
I guess maybe in the future, if we have a song that has quite a bit of swearing, we could think about that. And
Just record
when
it
we're
2
recording,
ways.
make sure
Yep.
that we have a couple of the
Okay, I just want to finish off the
you remember Cypress Hill, when the ship goes down.
Yeah. Yeah.
like that one. My man. Just to finish off the greatest night in radio history in this city, Bullion. by Millicom.
Oh, I love that.
One of my favorite harmonies of all time. Bullion at the very end.
Yeah.
Oh, God. This guy gets it. My Right Again, My Friend Peter, Alkaline Trio. Hope by the Descendants. My Wife's a Psychopath, the Toy Dolls. Anybody?
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
Got a little Bad Brains, Attitude.
Nice.
Die for the Government. And ended with Close-Minded by Vision. Everyone tells me I'm closed-minded. Make no mistake, there's no compromise. Literally a speech halfway through the song where the guy goes, we listen to the type of music we want to listen to. We act how we want to act, and no one's going to tell us how to do it any differently. It's like it's like a speech to the world, saying everything we all have always wanted to say.
Well, I love that because at this point, I almost get offended with like certain, and I'm not saying any radio stations' names, but like you go to want to listen to some rock or whatever, and then God bless Jelly Roll, but like that's all you can hear on a rock station,
Right.
and like I don't have anything wrong with him, and he's got a great voice and he's a great artist, but when I want to listen to rock, to me that's not really rock enough for me, and you're hearing that 5-6 times a day. It's I just don't listen to those stations because
And that's how you know the station's not for you. There's nothing.
Yeah.
The
No.
reason they do all that is because the majority of people want it that way.
Well,
and that's what people on the outside, like us, need to understand.
But you know what I mean? Like if it's the Bull and I want to hear some Garth Brooks or whatever, I know that's old ball, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm trying to think of something.
We love the Bull, by the way. Shout out to
Yes,
the best morning show guy in the world, Clayton
But
Croker.
if you hear a Slayer song on the Bull, you're kind of like,
Whoa, this
I
is
don't know.
not-
I was
this is-
expecting to hear
Right.
some country.
So apart from being a delicious baked pastry, a jelly roll, I'm not super familiar. I'm pretty sure I've heard a song, but like what genre would
To
it
me,
fit
it's
in?
like,
Is
it's
it
like,
country
like
rap?
rebel country
Yeah,
kind
country?
of like,
Okay.
yeah.
Rebel country is a good way of putting it.
Okay.
But and he's got that like smoky, husky voice. Like he, out of the Ozzy Osbourne, because he did one of the songs for that when he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and his vocal performance was one of my
Guy's
favorite. Like,
incredible,
so
yeah.
he's great. Same with a guy like Post Malone or whatever. Like I love. Have you seen him like jamming
country
with
stuff?
Travis Barker?
I've heard.
And they did like Nirvana and stuff, and like
Ooh.
yeah, just like he's always jamming with guys, and he plays like actual punk rock and rock stuff too. So I really respect him for that, and his pop stuff and all that. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with it. It's just two guys that
Well, I know exactly where you're going with it because when I used to do that, it was New Music Radar, and it's like, hey, here's a country singer named Jelly Roll doing a song from 3 years ago. And then you get yelled at for saying that because you're supposed to say you like it.
Yeah.
And I was the only one who was so dumb.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that by me being honest and telling the truth, I was bashing everything around me.
So a way around that is you add an S to it, and you just say, "I really love jelly rolls."
Rolls.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like how you're stuck on the food part.
I'm
of
just
this
hungry. I
conversation.
don't know.
can-
I haven't
can
eaten
tell.
all day.
I like that.
I'm kind of starting to get hungry. Maybe.
If
Sorry.
you at home have a band, or if you have anything that you think we could help with, if you're sitting there with your band saying, man, I wonder what would go on if we tried to release something, or I wonder how much work it would take, or any of that, we would love to help you as we continue to move forward and wanting to do more for bands in this city. It's real easy to get a hold of us. Just send something over to contact@dufferinav.com. And if you don't like emailing, go to the world's greatest website. He literally made it just over there. His name's Royal Anders. Dufferinav.com. Dufferinav.com. If you got a band, let us know. We will get you figured out on SoCan and DistroKid.
At some point, we got to just do the Dufferin Ave.
Dufferin Ave.
So I'm going to do Dufferin
Dufferin
Ave. Didn't work. Oh, well.
Yeah.
We'll get it next
try.
time. We can fix that in post-pro.
Man, we're halfway there. We're Bon Joviing so hard right now, you guys. This is wild. Royal Anders, how you doing, buddy? My man, I can tell you didn't bring any treats for her because she's not whining. Oh, sneaky. Not just websites. He specializes in so much more. Apparently he specializes in getting haircuts.
Yeah, you're looking
God,
good. You're looking
brand
sharp
new for the
man.
new year.
I thought the first rule of
Impressive.
coming in here was never looking better than any of us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, unfortunately, that's pretty easy.
Gary, one little.
Sorry. They're going to send me a picture of two gummies messing up with our
So that's who's running the show in
I was
there, eh?
wondering why you weren't paying attention.
Like, oh, that damn Coke
Very,
bottle.
Very good. All right, so back to you.
Okay, I remember the Halloween episode where I came dressed up as you.
Oh, the best.
And I needed
Where
to-
do you think I got this from?
Yeah. But you know how I wore the sleeve on my head or whatever,
Gary's
like
good
you did?
do-rags, yeah.
This was the shirt, and I just dropped this one sleeve, and then I put it back in the closet, and I haven't So this morning I cut the other sleeve off, and
That was
now
my Rush shirt,
yeah,
yes.
I'm finally using this shirt, but
It was lopsided
Yeah.
for a while.
well, yeah, it was just a one-sleeve shirt, and
Yeah.
I'm like, at some point, but it's like back in the day I used to rip them off. Now I cut them, and it's a whole thing. It's, yeah.
That Rush shirt I have, my Roll the Bone shirt, I took off the one during the show, and then I did the exact same thing. I was like, oh, yeah, my Rush shirt. And I pulled it down. Oh, yeah, I got another do-rag out of here. Okay, let's do it. We had another reminder, you guys, and this is, this is cool. So this is going to take a little bit of a turn, but it's still music-based, and it basically involves a show I stumbled upon on YouTube yesterday. It's not even a show. It was just the top 200 samples that were turned into hip-hop songs.
Fun.
So the original songs where the samples were taken. And so it starts with the original, be like,
David.
and this is what got me into it, was Herb Alpert. So Herb Alpert had a song from 1979, and they show the original of Herb Alpert. He's a very you guys know Herb at all?
I
You guys
do
heard
not.
of him?
Not personally.
The only reason I know is because I heard They Suck Live, or I heard They Still Suck Live, one of those live No Effects records. They had, so El Jefe's playing the trumpet like he does, and I think as one of the Eric Melvin or Sandin says, hey, you sound like Herb Alpert over there. Great job. I'm like, what the heck's a Herb Alpert? So I looked it up because I'm curious like a cat. And it turns out he's this famous trumpeter. And so Herb Alpert had put out a song in '79. And the cool part about this video is it takes the original and then it explains how the sample was made. So it'll be like, here's the original, then pitch up, and then tone down.
Sweet.
So, and they actually shape the beat, and then here it is. So Herb Alpert's song, I forget what it was called, led into Hypnotized by Biggie Smalls. Dun, 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 Biggie, 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 can't you see?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, how the hell does that happen? And then they go all these different examples and all of these ragers that we've all come to know and love so much. Every single one of them came from these songs from the 70s and 60s. And
I watched
It's crazy.
something very, I don't know if it was like a Rick Rubin thing, and he talks a lot about, and it was all these different songs that we know as a popular song, but it's like, no, that song is like 40 years old.
and most of them are
And it
very
was-
similar.
Yep.
Like they're very close.
So that's interesting. So a lot of these, they're kind of manipulated a bit with
A
the
lot,
speed
like a
and
lot.
the pitch and whatnot.
And this is, I I mentioned the Abyss earlier when we were talking about the label stuff. The greatest rapper in the world. He's actually due back in the Death Star here as we got some more work to do on his music. He was literally going through this, and I felt like as I was watching this, I felt like I was sitting with him. 'Cause he's creating beats now with this thing we got him, and he's taking samples from these songs, and like we're talking like soul singers from the '60s. And one of the first sort of tracks that he put together fully, he took me from, he's like, all right, so I found this sample, and he plays it from, like, that's really sweet. And then 10 minutes later, he showed me the whole journey from that sample to all of the manicuring he did to said sample, and then all the stuff that he added. And then he says, now listen to this. And I'm like, how? How did you do that? And he says, I'm just getting started. And he's now got a big catalog of all these different beats that he's made from all of these samples that he just loved over his life. Like one of them was his mom's favorite song from 30 years ago.
That's so cool.
I had no idea that that's how it worked.
But that's why, you know, like the ignorant people back in the day, it's like, oh, techno music or this or that. It's like they're not real musicians or whatever. And then you look at that, it's like actually a lot of work and effort and stuff.
Yeah.
And really, when you break it down, everyone is just interpreting music that they liked. You know what? Like Dave Mustaine wrote Mechanics, which the Four Horsemen for Metallica. And that's just like a Kiss song, like it's like Detroit Rock City or something. But you know, and then they made it their own, and then Metallica inspired a band that made it their own. And like you go back further, you know, like Beethoven was inspired by blah blah blah. And yeah, it's just we're always just kind of inspired by what we like, choosing the elements of these things that we like and making it our own. And that's kind of what techno music's doing. Where hey, I like that, but I want to make it my own a bit, but.
So this begs the question, when does, like as far as like plagiarism or royalties or like how, you know, can you just sample a song and as long as you don't use so much of it,
That's
are
a
you
good
like
question.
clear or is
I
like,
can tell you one thing right now. We have a lawyer that can answer those questions.
there you go.
The premier entertainment lawyer for all entertainment around Western Canada, at least, the great Kurt Dahl, drummer lawyer from One Bad Son. I got not off the phone. We're setting up a phone meeting this week to talk about the legalities of all of this. And maybe that's something that we could touch on as well as we're looking to bring back Katie and me, a great, wonderful segment we used to do at the old place. And I think that's a perfect example of what we can talk about, the legalities of sampling music, because you bring up the most important part of all this is we've reached a point where everyone's sort of done everything you can within your own realm, be it your thrash metal, your punk rock, your hip hop, whatever it is. Everyone's gone as far as you can down that road. So the only logical next step is coming up with something either so insane and crazy that no one will understand what it is and saying that's new music, or taking from the past and adding your own spin on it.
Well, and it was, and yeah, I mean, kind of in the same vein of thought, I guess. It was something like, this may not be the exact thing, but it was like, oh geez, what's the band that did like the Michael Jackson?
Papa Roach.
Yeah, is that Papa Roach or?
Yeah, of course it was Papa Roach.
No, it wasn't Papa Roach.
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Smooth Criminal. That was Papa Roach. I played it on the radio a lot.
Is it? Okay.
I could vouch for this one.
Okay. But so yeah, I think,
Show me Papa Roach.
Hey, 100. All right. But it was something like, and I don't know if this was the the song, but it's like Michael Jackson made more off of that song than he did off of his. Or again, that may not be the right comparison.
What about Vanilla Ice and frickin'
the one who
Ziggy,
actually wrote the song?
Bowie?
Bowie.
No,
Yeah.
Bowie.
Yeah.
Bowie and Spy.
Yeah, I imagine he
right? It was
probably
something like-
may have
like-
made more off
Right.
of that.
And that's where it's like how much of the song do you have to use to start paying royalties? Is
Or
there
when
a
does it-
limit? When does it?
When
yeah.
does it become a cover song?
Right.
Yeah.
When is it a cover? When is it your own song? Like again, going
We're
back to
opening more cans
this
than we can
video that I
handle.
saw, it was like, you know, a lot of these songs, like from rap in the 90s, were songs from the 60s and 70s that like were basically unknown, and then
They bring
you
it
know
back
whatever
and blow up.
Jay-Z or
Yeah.
or Kanye or like
Yeah.
some, you know, somebody like that, like it's a household song now, but it was actually written 40 years prior.
One of the
And
biggest complaints I had, and a huge shout out to Ugly Kid Joel, my sweet, beautiful prince, Hometown Rock, Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. Check him out. He is the voice for music in this city. He always gives me shit because I get so upset when we hear this band has a new song. Doesn't matter what band it is, doesn't matter what the song is. There was a point for a while where that new song by that band was a cover.
Yeah.
And he would always look at me and say, okay, I know you hate when bands do covers. Like, I don't hate it. Just don't call it new. Here's a cover song. Don't say, hey, we got a brand new song we're so excited to bring to you. I already know all the words.
Alien Ant Farm.
What did I say?
Papa Roach.
What was Papa Roach's song? I'm so sorry. You are
Do,
so
do,
right.
do, do, do.
I literally went to the point
I
of...
just knew it was. I'm like, I know it's
I went
Yeah.
all the
It's
way.
got
Well, what was the Papa Roach
Surge
one?
or whatever the
Last
guy-
Resort.
Oh, there you go.
My
There you
last
go.
Not a cover
resort.
song anyway, but I will
No.
say in my defense, Papa Roach and Alien Ant Farm, very similar.
Yeah, totally. And in that same like
I was very wrong. I was
rock
on camera.
rap.
I was horribly wrong, and I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I
I
tried to
shouldn't
flex
have- I
while I
shouldn't
was
have-
wrong. No, I tried to
I
flex.
shouldn't
on
have called you.
Yeah,
out
you
on
did.
that.
Yeah,
I
it
did.
it's really got quite aggressive there.
I
Really.
think-
The bruise is
I
still tender,
believe
Gary.
the term I used was, I played it a million times. I believe I know.
And you guys are both looking at me. I'm just like, I don't want any part of this.
Fill in on this, Matt. Let's go. You got to break.
You
the
got to
tie.
pick one of us. Who do you like more?
And here you go. How many more Alien Ant songs do you know?
I
None.
don't know
Farm
any.
None.
Yeah.
I had a hard time coming
So
up
that-
with that one. I didn't
So that
even-
one, like they've been riding that forever.
Oh,
and that's, I guess, why people do covers now,
And
because it's easier.
It's probably not even in the reference that I was trying to make. It's probably not even that song that I was trying
Fair
to
enough.
really make a connection with.
Smooth
But,
Criminal, Alien Ant Farm. That is the song. I will confirm that one 1,000%. Stand on that one. Feeling good as we continue here on the Tuesday edition of your show, also daylighting. The daylighting, is that the right term? As the All at Angs podcast. You can find it anywhere on
Moonlighting?
the internet, the Audible only version. Was that?
Moonlighting? Is that?
Oh, I was so close. Moonlight savings time, right, boys? We're on this. We know what's up.
A Totoso?
An F and a Totoso. Ah, Trailer Park Boys. So good. So we're on the last quarter of this episode. And we've talked about a lot of really, really interesting, cool stuff here. If you were to cover a song, after I just explained about how much I hate covering songs, if you were to do one, what would you go with? And I'm going to start with you like we always do, because this guy is going to be,
I felt it brewing, and I
Yeah,
felt
he
my
knew it was coming.
anxiety rise.
Because there's two ways to do it, and if it's like when I've covered songs, like I'll pick a band that I really
Perfect
like
example.
Death or like
SNFU.
Bad Religion, and I like doing it as close as possible
Paying
to
tribute to it.
exactly the same. Maybe like you can like sing it with your tone of voice, but still trying to hit the phrasing and everything, and the solo's the exact same. So that's I would pick, like a Lagwagon song. But if I'm doing a cover song in the vein of like what we're talking about, you pick something like a Blondie or something like an Alanis Morissette, and even like I was showing you some of those riffs, before the show today,
So good.
and just making
So
it my
good.
own. We're like meddling it up a bit,
Yeah.
throwing in double kicks and throwing
That's
in
a
like.
huge point. Taking one genre and bringing it into another.
But yeah, still like again though, I always hate when like there's a cool vocal melody of a song and a band covers it and they change the melody. Like to me, that's almost offensive. I
Right.
want it to be like because that's what you like.
Right. You like the initial
Yeah,
vibe
you can
of the
add
song.
a harmony
you wanna,
to it,
yeah.
or you can maybe put like a screaming vocal harmony behind it, or something to make it your own. But yeah, for me, I would cover like a '90s pop song and make it metal.
And one more for you, because I totally forgot you have experience in doing this. If you were to have a band come to you and say, hey, we'd love to cover one of your songs, what
Yeah.
would you tell them?
Like that would be my ultimate goal, to have someone covering our song, sampling our song, putting it in a movie.
No matter...
Please, I'd be like, please, sir or ma'am, I'll do anything.
No matter what? Like, say you got like a folk band that wants to do Last Guildsman.
Badass, love it,
So you wouldn't put any restraints on them. You say, make it your own.
100%.
Do you think that's the general mindset for most bands?
I don't know, but for me, I just like I made this piece of art. I always get a buzz when we sing, when you see people singing along to any of your songs or whatever. And to me, that's like the next step is like someone's covering it. Like we've had a few times where people have did like guitar covers of our songs, and like
cool.
that's cool. Yeah, if they were like gonna go out of their way to record it and make it their own, I think that would be like I'd be super flattered.
I mean, I
Very
think that
well
would be
said.
the ultimate
Yeah, like,
flattery.
oh, it's so
Right.
cool. Like someone like thought your art was cool enough that they're like, oh, we could put our stamp on it.
That's very well said.
I don't
have time.
I don't really want to answer this question because
Well, you don't have to.
I kind of want
can
to.
pass.
I
You
mean,
wanna pass?
well, I don't know. I mean, I would think like some 70s rock and punk it up a bit. I don't know. I mean, I have this weird feeling with covers. I'm not maybe on the same quite on the same
The
side as you,
rage level?
but I'm like, if the covers, it's like, how do you take a really good song and I guess I see covers as like they're trying to put their spin on it, make it better, but maybe not better. Just like how do you take a really good song? Because I've heard some shitty covers where it's like, oh, that's
What do
like
you
I
do?
expect a cover to be
Different but the same.
yeah, like I don't want to say better, but this leads me to the one caveat of all of this, where there's a band out of Vancouver, Victoria, called The Rebel Spell, and they have a song called I Am a Rifle, which is a ripping song. It's great. But then Propagandy covers it
I was gonna say that sounded familiar.
and makes it like 10 times better, and that's hard to say because it's a really good song,
Yeah.
but it's Propagandy. And
Second
they
favorite all time.
Now it's their song.
Oh,
Kind of
man,
like when
it's
Johnny Cash
like-
covered Hurt.
Yeah,
You know, it
it's-
became a Johnny Cash
Oh,
song.
it's and yeah, I don't know. So we'll have to listen to it after because it's.
I have it on here.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
wondering why the
okay.
title sounded so
There
familiar.
you go.
When you talk about all this, and one thing that we totally overlooked with this conversation, as we tend to do with all conversations, we have proof of sort of what we're talking about and how you make it work in Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
Mhm.
Literally a band that introduced me to country roads from Survival of the Fattest. It's like I'm singing this song, and my mom and dad are like, how do you know the words of this song? It's like, well, it's the slow version of this one that I know that's really good. Like, this is garbage. I don't know why you guys listen to this, but this is here.
Yeah.
Like, who is this John Denver guy? You know, like, listen to Me First. This is incredible.
John Denver was full of crap.
And I think that's for me. Like anytime I think like if I was to cover a song, it would be a punked up.
Yeah, and
Something,
I always
right?
like
So
that. Yeah.
it's like it kind of has to, kind of like you say, like already be in that like rock classification. Maybe
Yeah.
like it can't. I don't know. It's
And not only
not,
that-
not impossible to.
The growth that they show, because you feel like if you're going to be a cover band, you're putting yourself into this little sort of corner. But if you're like Me First, they go 70s era music, 80s music era,
Yeah.
show tunes. Like they do all of these different avenues, and all of them come back to this incredible punk rock.
Signature sound.
Yeah.
Like
They
they've
made
got a
it their
signature
own out of
sound, and they can
everyone
take
else's
any
stuff.
song and make
Yeah.
it their own, and it's so cool.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll do it.
I love that song.
I know. It's crazy to me.
That the ukulele Hawaiian version by that guy is definitely one of my favorites.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Big
yeah, like
boy.
with some of those cover songs that were popular about 5 years ago, like the Cranberries one or whatever,
Zombie.
Zombie. Again, it's good, but I prefer the
Totally,
original.
100%
And
agree.
with Simon and Garfunkel, Sound of Silence.
Oh, it's
again,
my mom's favorite song right now
Yeah,
is that
and-
cover version of
okay,
that song.
because the cover version's not bad. But
hated it
but
so
I
much.
love Simon and
original.
Garfunkel, and I love that original.
Yep.
So to me, it's just always kind of like I'd prefer just the normal song.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I guess I always think like, oh, they're taking a cover or an original song that maybe wasn't that good, and they're gonna make it better. Whereas in those cases, like, no, you took a great
It was,
song
yeah.
and you tried to, I don't know, it didn't.
Didn't
Personal
Well, I
opinion
remember
didn't come out.
in grade 11, Evan Hardy, shout out,
Ooh,
like
Souls.
media studies or whatever. They said, when you're doing like, kind of spoofs of something, like you wouldn't want to do a recreation of The Simpsons because it's already funny. You take something that's boring and
Right.
then you make it funny, and it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
You like take a bad song and make it good.
To answer your guys' question, the song I would love to cover would be,
I don't recall.
I love this.
I don't recall asking you.
To answer the question I asked myself, what song would I go with? And you know I hate making things about myself, but I really think there's something here. The song Call Me Al. So Uncle Graham and I have been doing these interviews with Porno Al from Arcana Kings during Uncle Graham's Storytime. Incredible, incredible show. Check it out on the network. And whenever Porno Al comes on, I do the I do the dance. I do it. Take that sample and turn it into a hip hop song.
Yeah, I like
Get
it.
that hook and then put a beat under it, because the ability to change that is so open, because it's just like, well, you got drums and you got horns. Put more drums, more horns in it. Put a beat under it, and I feel like whoever gets "Call Me Al" turned into a sample into a hip hop song, I'm gonna bug the abyss about that. I think you could be sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah,
Just things, those little things. Like I've been listening to music my whole life, really enjoying certain songs, like certain parts of songs and certain aspects of songs. And I didn't even realize it, but I was thinking at that time, and right up to this point, like a producer would. Because you're listening to the song, it's like, oh, wait, what's that? Oh, wait, what's this little bit right in here? And to take that and turn that into something fully new, it's the umbrella effect. We talk about it all the time here. Just adding layers and layers and opening up your umbrella more and more. So everybody's benefiting from this one thing that started out with this one little bit of this one song.
and finding those hooks, because sometimes there's like a song that has a real gem of a hook that's in there, but it's not really highlighted in that song per se.
Exactly. Right.
And then, it kind of just never goes anywhere because people don't like the song or whatever. But then you snipe out that little hook and turn it into your own, and you can get some legs.
That would be wild.
I was just thinking when I didn't ask you about that question, The Simpsons, where Kirk Van Houten gets fired from the cracker factory, and he's like, "So what? After 20 years, it's just so long and good luck." And they're like, "We don't recall saying good luck."
I always felt for Kirk, man. I hope no one else has to go through that. That'd be tough.
Tough life.
Tough life for the Van Houtens.
At least he got his race car bed though.
Hey.
I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
Oh, The Simpsons. I have to be honest with you guys. I stopped watching The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I stopped watching The Simpsons, and I touched on this yesterday, it has a lot to do with Skynet and all the other stuff, but that Groening guy is a Freemason, and everyone always talks about, and this is a little conspiracy here for you. The Simpsons is always telling the future. How do they always know? The Simpsons predicted this, predicted that. Yeah, it's because it's being run by a Freemason who's literally making that happen in the real world, and he knows he's going to make it happen in the real world, so he puts in The Simpsons, and everyone says, oh, they're telling the future. No. They're just letting you
He's
know what
making
they're
the
about to do.
future.
Right.
And so in that, I'm like, man, if they can do that, they're brainwashing us for sure. So I had to stop watching The Simpsons.
I respect that.
I'm trying, and it hurts. I see it on TV all the time. Like, God, I wish I could watch.
Like
But now the
you won't
idea-
even stream the old
The
first
subliminal
10.
messages, like if you go down these conspiracy rabbit
fair
holes,
enough.
like it gets so crazy, but there's so much there. And it's like they literally have CIA government-led projects that are brainwashing you through the TV.
That's
just like
why
when your
I
parents
have
say you're going to get
yeah,
brainwashed.
I have such an affinity for footballs to the groin because of
You had
this
football
very
in the
reason.
groin.
And I've been wearing an onion on my belt for the last 20 years.
It was the
'cause
style at
it
the
was
time.
The style at the time. That's what they told me.
Oh, I love
I don't
you guys
know.
so much.
I don't
Oh,
know.
this has probably been by far, like, I don't even think it's close, the best episode we've ever done against all
I
our
think
names.
new year, new us.
New
you
us,
know?
exactly.
Hey, oh.
See, I love your
I've been-
positive angle. I was thinking it's all downhill from here.
No.
We've been pushing 2025. I've got good feelings about it.
Yeah, we're
That's
less
good things.
or a week in today, is it?
Yeah,
seventh?
it's the
Is that
7th.
Something like that.
Right.
We're bang
Be a
on.
weekend?
Never
mind, but
we're a week.
It's
we're a week.
January
7 days.
7th.
Yeah.
Because
a week.
about 5 years ago, actually probably about 8 years ago, we were at Fuddruckers and we saw this guy that looked like a poor man's Tom Skerritt. And then me and Aaron have been calling January 7th Tom Skerritt Day unofficially for the last 8 years. So
Who's Tom Skerritt?
he's like in Top Gun, he's like the like teacher guy or whatever. He was on
Oh.
picket fences.
The guy that's
He's an
always threatening
alien.
to send them to Myanmar or whatever it is? I'll have
Yeah,
your ass
yeah.
at Miramar.
Yeah,
That
he's,
guy? I'm not saying anything correct. I'm just throwing it out
but yeah, he's like he was on a show called Picket Fences. He's just a guy from my childhood, but this guy looked somewhat like him, and now we arbitrarily called January 7th Tom Skerritt Day, and we've been doing that for 8 years or so.
Here's
freaking
to
awesome.
Tom Skerritt Day.
Tom
It's a
Skerritt.
Tom Skerritt Day.
That's a great one. Who was the one from Empire Records? Rex Manning Day.
Oh, yes.
Rex Manning Day. People celebrate that too.
I can't hear after all the yawns coming from the booth in there.
That's not the booth, is it? Are you yawning in there, Dragon? That must be Royal Anders. Look at him. He's looking sneaky. He's like, I'm ready to take a nap. Well, we better wake up Frankie then and let him play us out for today, as this episode has been unreal. So proud. Beautiful. We are playing, boys.
Definitely opened up a few questions too. I'm excited for some answers on this.
Yes, and answers we shall find as we move forward with a music division. I'd like to say a record label, just like Fat Records, just like Epitaph Records, all of the ones we grew up with. Something we are looking very, very forward to continuing to do here in this beautiful city of ours. To everyone who came by today, we had a party in here earlier. LB was in the house. We had Coach Kamatu, aka Coach Mazer, in here. Dragon was here. These guys were here. It was a lot of fun, and we went over all good stuff. Network Ryan was even here trying to piss all over the party, so that was good. We love him. We always say you got to have one guy that's just, the curmudgeon because he lives in reality while we all continue to live this dream life. So he gets to dabble a little bit, I think. Terrell Anders making it in. I cannot wait to hang out with you, old friend. It's been far too long. As well. Dragon, great job today. Very proud of you. You're a handsome prince. What are you giving me the eyes for? Why are you giving me the eyes? I think he's jealous he's not riding Matt from all the band's shoulders right now.
Oh, we can
you have a
change
tough
that.
time when you're not up here celebrating the end of the show with us? Poor cat.
Dust off maybe some of my.
Those yawns
Oh,
turned
yeah,
to
give us the
cries.
line dance. Give us the line dance. Here we go. This was its Festivus.
Need a Maggie
what
cam
was
for
it?
the footwork, maybe.
It was a party. They were doing a show. It was amazing. Look at him.
Yeah, Maggie cam for the footwork.
We'll be back
Almost.
tomorrow, 4 p.m., all the way around table. It's going to be fantastic. Have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. And most importantly, remember, karma, the most realist thing ever. If you start doing good things, they'll start happening to you. I promise you this. This whole place was built around that idea. Just keep doing good things with no expectations in return. And you too could end up in a studio having the most fun in the world with all of your closest, bestest friends, all right? And if that doesn't happen, let us know and you can come here and hang out with us, because it's what we do. Make the world a better place. Thank you to both of you guys. The All That Angst podcast, audio version every Thursday, popping up for you. Be sure to check it out and enjoy it. And don't forget the DAM20 promo code. Go pick up some of Uncle Mike's incredible products. They're all so organic and real. All right? We love you. Have a great Tuesday. You guys.
No, you